Grissa Michelle, the wife of the late Nelson Mandela, releasing a statement about Winnie Madikizela-Mandela and the relationship between the two women married to our famous, iconic struggle hero Nelson Mandela, was watched the world over after their divorce in 1996. There was a relationship, and Winnie Madikizela-Mandela was allowed to come and be with the family and be at the deathbed of the late Nelson Mandela. Now, Grissa Michelle writing this letter to my big sister. She calls Winnie Madikizela-Mandela my big sister, and I'm just going to read you some excerpts. She says, the extraordinary life that you led is an example of resilient fortitude and inextinguishable passion that is a source of inspiration to us all of how to courageously confront challenges with unwavering strength and determination. Thank you for your brilliant wisdom, your fierce defiance, and your stylish beauty, recognizing all sides of Winnie Madikizela-Mandela. Fortunately, as she says, stars shine brightest during the darkest of hours. I know you will continue to illuminate our sky even through the storms and clouds. Ending off, your legacy is everlasting. Take a well-deserved rest in peace, my big sister. Again, signing off, love and respect always, your little sister, Grissa. Now let's speak to the photographer Sam Nzima. He took the picture that we all recognize of Hector Peterson, who was shot at by the apartheid police as he walked away from where the swells were in the Soweto uprising in 1976. And of course, 2 months later, Winnie Madikizela-Mandela led a march to demand the release of the so-called Soweto 11 people who were arrested for being involved in that bloody uprising. He's spoken about police shooting randomly. Let's speak to Sam Nzima now. Mr. Nzima, do you remember Winnie Madikizela-Mandela's role in the run-up to that, or when you said Soweto was on fire?
Oh, yes, I remember very, very well. I was surprised to see her mingling in the middle of the crowd of the students. And all of a sudden I saw her confronting the police who were shooting at the children at Orlando West in 1976. So I was surprised and wondered why she was involved in that. But she was committed. I could see that this is a person who's committed, really trying to stop the police from shooting at the students.
I think that the one part of her legacy that is undisputed is that fearlessness. Describe that a little bit further, her confronting apartheid-era police.
Oh, yes. She was a gallant fighter. She did not worry about the police. She did not fear the police. She pushed them away and tell them to stop shooting at the children. And indeed, the police listened to her. And it was not very far from where Hector Peterson was shot down, at about 100 meters away from Mandela's house. And she came running to intervene and stop the police from what they were doing.
After that, many people visited Winnie Madikizela-Mandela. She was involved in the march a bit later on. Going into that turbulent period, what did you know about her? What was the talk about Winnie Mandela in Soweto at the time?
Oh, she was the talk of Soweto and the whole of South Africa. In so much that in 1989, when the former president of America, Bill Clinton, visited Soweto, Hillary Clinton, the wife of the former president of America, she wanted to buy the camera, the Pentax camera, the camera that took Hector Peterson's picture. This is the camera that Winnie Mandela refused Hillary Clinton to buy the camera. I wanted to sell this to Hillary Clinton because she requested me that she would like to buy this camera, the camera that took the picture of Hector Peterson. But Winnie Mandela intervened. She said, this is the property of South Africa, cannot be taken to America. And she gave me instruction thereafter that keep this camera. This camera must remain in South Africa with this historic picture of Hector Peterson. we must not sell the picture to anybody. Must not sell the camera to anybody. I must keep it in South Africa. And the Women's League, they also say that if I don't want to keep the camera, the ANC Women's League, they can keep this camera. Up to now, I'm still keeping the camera because of her instruction. She told me not to sell the camera.
So that's the very same camera in your hands?
That's the same camera that took the picture of Hector Peterson, and she stopped me from selling it. And I'm keeping it now because of her instruction. I will never sell this camera.
There were reports that she wanted you to give the picture to the ANC Women's League. Is that correct? What discussions were there around the picture itself?
Yes. She wanted this camera to be kept by the ANC Women's League. And I told her, no, since you have told me that I must not sell this camera, I will keep it myself until I build my own museum where I'm going to keep the camera forever.
Ms. Nzima, we don't often get to chat to you about that time, and maybe not perhaps directly related to her, but take us back to Soweto in June 1976. The township, parts of it on fire. Police, you said, firing. Just tell us what it was like, because everybody is remembering her and looking at the context in which she was functioning. Take us back and describe what it was like.
Soweto was on fire. It was really horrific. What happened is that the march started from Naledi High School in the morning. The students, they were protesting against the Afrikaans as a medium of instructions. So they started to march from Soweto, from Naledi High School. I joined them from Naledi High School marching to Orlando Stadium. Their aim was to get into the stadium and write a memorandum to submit at the Department of Education. But before they arrived at Orlando Stadium, at the Matsiki High School, Orlando West High, police came and they stopped them from marching. And the police in charge, he asked them, what are you doing here, little one here? They start to sing the song which was banned during the time when the ANC was on exile. Because Sigalela Africa was no longer allowed to be sung in South Africa. But the students started to sing that song which was banned in South Africa, called Sigalela Africa. I think that's the thing that provoked that policeman, the leader of the police, to give them an order that shoot. Then the shooting was just shooting the police were just shooting at random. And I saw the little boy fell down, and I ran with my camera to that child. I took the pictures, 6 shots. And Mbuiso Makubo picked that little boy up, and they ran around, was looking for the nearest car to take Hector Peterson to the clinic. And the only nearest car was our press car, the Beetle. And Sophie Tima, she took her into the car. They ran to the clinic. The doctor certified Hector Peterson dead on arrival. So they came back and report that Hector Peterson is dead. So Soweto was on fire. The student picked up the stone and hit back to the police. The police were hitting with live ammunition. The students were hitting with the stones. And then Soweto was on fire. The bottle stores were looted. Schools were burned. Offices of the government were burned. Everything was closed in Soweto. No white person was allowed to drive through Soweto. That day is a day that I will never forget in my life. Soweto was really on fire. Everywhere was on fire.
And thank you for taking us back there. So then in the August, Winnie Mandela leads another march protesting against those who were arrested for their involvement in what happened earlier. I don't know if you were able to witness that. I think you were already then basically hiding from the apartheid police.
Oh, yes. Yes. Well, you know, we were running amok everywhere where we can hear that the police are doing something, we're there. And Winnie led that march successfully. It was a sign that she's a very brave woman. She did not have any fear to march and tell the police that you get off from here, stop shooting the children. Indeed, she did a lot of work. She helped a lot. Children were stopped to be shot by the police because of Winnie Mandela.
Mr. Nzima, finally, how do you think we should remember Winnie Madikizela-Mandela?
There are so many ways. Winnie Mandela should be named in every street, towns, and buildings. That should be Winnie Madikizela-Mandela, because she's a lady who liberated us in this apartheid regime. She's a lady who showed us that you must be brave if you want something. You must fight for your rights. Indeed, South Africa must remember Winnie by respecting of naming some institution to show that we must not forget Winnie Mandela. She must not just die in vain.
Thank you very much, Sam Nzima, who took that iconic picture of Hector Peterson that went global and highlighted some of the brutal oppression of the apartheid police shooting at children. Well, many global leaders and celebrities sent their messages of condolences on Twitter. Let's just bring you a sample of some of them now. Kofi Annan, former head of the UN, Winnie Mandela was a voice of defiance who refused to be silenced. Her life was a testament to both the strengths and weaknesses of the human character. Her courage and resilience inspired a generation of activists both in South Africa and around the world.
A woman who epitomized how the power of a woman's love, intelligence and vision can change a culture. R.I.P. Winnie Mandela. That is, of course, from the actress Viola Davis. That was her tweet there.
All right, we now take you to Orlando in Soweto. For some visuals of the hive of activity outside her home. First, let's finish looking at some of these. Naomi Campbell, the model, paying tribute to her. I cherish the times I spent with you, embracing me and your family and home. You were a woman of strength that endured so much hardship and sacrifice. And there you can see live visuals outside Winnie Madikizela-Mandela's home in Soweto tonight. Earlier today at the same venue, we saw EFF leader Julius Malema talking about Winnie Madikizela-Mandela. They were firm friends, and he was talking about her legacy as the mother of the nation, saying that she's a unifier, somebody who could walk. I don't know if you heard that, Bongani, with Julius Malema on one side and Cyril Ramaphosa on the other.
Indeed, there have been those iconic photographs from her 80th birthday celebrations. But as we look at those visuals outside the Orlando home in Soweto, reminiscent, I suppose, of when Utata Umadiba passed on, and how it was the people, not just the princes, but indeed the paupers, who came to pay tribute. And that's what we are seeing outside the Orlando home, as many Soweto residents, as many citizens from all parts of the country come to pay their last respects in this period of mourning for Mama Winnie Madikizela-Mandela, singing struggle songs. This is exactly what she would have been encouraged by could she hear it, singing those struggle songs, really saying that the light has not yet gone out fully on the life that was Winnie Madikizela-Mandela.